Hello my snow angels, welcome back to my channel. So it's been a very long time since I have talked about a book on here, but I'm going to do that today. So that book is The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. Yeah, The Spiritual Path to Higher Creativity. And with that I have the Morning Pages Journal. Which the pages are huge, so if you're gonna do this program, I would recommend that you don't get this. Get a normal size journal because, yeah, you're not gonna want to fill up giant pages like this. Okay, so the reason why I got this book was because it was when I moved back to the US from Korea, and I was talking to my sister-in-law on the phone about my situation. And she recommended this book to me and even offered to get it for me. Very, very sweet. She's the best. But she wanted me to have it and to start the program because it's good for recovering creatives, especially ones who are blocked, which I have been, but also happens often. If you're a creative person, you can relate to this. Yeah, so it is a 12-week program. Kind of modeled after like a 12-step program. Like it's loosely inspired on that and does kind of have some of those ideals in there. But keep in mind this program was created in like 1992, I believe. So there are some things that didn't age particularly well, but the basic principles that are taught in this are pretty good. Some of it you do have to take with a grain of salt. There were a lot of things in the book that I didn't like very much or didn't agree with, but there was a lot in there that was helpful. So I'm gonna go over that today. The first thing though, if you clicked on this video and you haven't watched my content before and you see the title, it's an atheist guide to this book. Yeah, I'm going to be talking about that. So, Julia Cameron is very much a Christian. She talks about God a lot in the book and refers to him as the creator and like the source of true creativity. So there is a lot of that in there, and it's a lot. And it's funny because in the first chapter, she says that anybody can use this book and use this program, even if you're not a Christian. She says that, yet it's not very Christian, non-Christian friendly. So that's why I'm here today. But I'm also of the opinion that if you're going to put out a public book like this that's meant to help anybody and everybody, then you need to go with a more secular approach than a religious one. Though that's different from being spiritual, because like I consider myself an atheist because I don't believe in God, but I am a spiritual person. So you can adapt it how you will. Okay, so let's get into it. So yeah, The Artist's Way, like I said, has 12 weeks that you do it. So once a week you read each section. So when you get the book, well, you can start with the basic principles. That's what I did. I don't remember if I did not read the preface. But yeah, I read like the introduction. So it talks about the basic principles. Yeah, you do need to read that part. It will give you a rundown of it. And then, yeah, it goes by weeks. So week 1, recovering a sense of safety. So once a week, you'll read each of these. And then this is where this comes in handy, the Morning Pages Journal, which I will talk more about later. But you are supposed to write in this every day, 3 pages, no editing, no nothing. You're not even technically allowed to let someone read it. But I'm like, it's yours. Do whatever you want. Okay. Yeah. So like that's the rundown of what it goes, of how it goes. And And another important thing is once a week you need to take yourself out on an artist date, which was difficult for me to do when I was in the program because where I lived, it was like I don't drive anymore. So my license expired 5 years ago, right before I moved to Korea, and I don't want to take the driver's test again yet. So yeah, I can't drive right now. Anything I can do, it has to be like walking distance, or the people I stayed with at the time, I would have had to go with them, but you're supposed to go on these artist dates by yourself. So, and I don't have a bike, but now I am in an area where I am close to things that I can walk to, and then I now have a bike, so it does make it easier for me to go to places. So now, after the program, I have committed myself to do the artist dates. So I will talk about that later as well. If you are an atheist like me, or you're not particularly religious or anything like that, here are some tips for you. You're going to also find a lot of this on Reddit. I looked a lot, like during this program, I was on Reddit a lot and even looked at like people's blog posts about this program to see if they were feeling the same things that I was, and there were a lot of people. So what I recommend to you, and I do this with like every book I read basically, is I will take a pen and I will take a highlighter. I will highlight the stuff that speaks to me, and I will get the pen and I will write things on the margins, and I will scribble things out and add my own things. So let me find a good example. Let's just do week 1. I'll show you with like week 1. Oh, I should also say, before you start the program, sorry, I'm a little all over the place. I didn't want to script this. When you start the book and when you start the pages, there's actually a contract where you say you will commit to doing the whole program and you will write the pages every day. I did not sign the contract. I don't like signing contracts, to be honest. I don't like being bound to something if I don't know exactly what I'm getting myself into. It's like if I have to for a job. Like, I've signed contracts for jobs and teaching in Korea. Like, that's normal for that kind of thing. But I'm like, I'm not signing a contract for this because I am not committing to whatever you want, So, like, I didn't do it. If you want to sign the contract, you can sign the contract. But I'm like, Julia Cameron is not coming over to my house with a gun to my head asking me to sign this contract. So, she can live. She doesn't know who I am. So, yeah, that might be salty. If you want to sign the contract, you can. But I think it's really weird to have someone doing your program sign a contract. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm alone in this. I don't know if like an AA or anything, if they ask you to sign a fucking contract, but I don't do it. So, okay. So, yeah, here's an example. In week 1, she writes out these creative affirmations because week 1 is about when you are an artist. Yeah, most artists, I'm sure, go through this where there's a lot of negative self-talk, a lot of doubts, a lot of imposter syndrome that creep in and then just goes like, I'm not good enough, I'm not good at this, I'm not talented, I'm stupid, or whatever, She said that you need to like write out these blurts, is what she called them, the blurts, and then you reframe it into a positive affirmation. Or say a statement that's like, actually, I am good enough. Like, I am more than good enough. Kind of thing. So, like, there are some good things like that. But she had these. So, like, this is an example of the kind of edits I made. So it was like the first one, I am a channel for God's creativity. Instead, I put down my own creativity and my work comes to good. And then there's like, my dreams come from God and God has the power to accomplish them. I said, my dreams come from my higher self, and my higher self has the power to accomplish them. Or you could say, and I have the power to accomplish them. Yeah, so there are some people I saw online that they would scribble out God and write Lady Gaga, which I thought was awesome. You can do that, but I usually either just omitted it or just written something that's like myself. And there are some weeks where it goes really heavy into the God stuff. So there were legit paragraphs that I just had to cross out or scribble out or write in the thing. Let me try to find another example. I just wrote bleh. You know, like you can do that. Like make it your own. So like that's something I highly recommend doing. Is just going in there, making your own little edits to adapt it to you. Because I think there's enough good stuff in this book that shouldn't be discarded, or it shouldn't be like disregarded. Julia Cameron is like very, very successful in the creative field. She's married to James Cameron, if you know that director. So she's a best-selling author of more than 40 books, fiction and nonfiction. She's a poet, songwriter, filmmaker, and playwright. So she's very accomplished, so she does have a lot of very good things to say. So some of her woo-woo antics, I don't think it's enough to discredit the book. So I think my opinion is I think it should, if you want to put out a book that's for everyone, then it should be neutral for everyone and not lean heavily towards any religious beliefs. That being said, there are some other things in the book that I didn't quite agree with. For example, week 2, she talks about crazy makers. So what she means by crazy makers are like the narcissistic, abusive people in our lives that make it all about them, and that they do stand in the way of your creativity. Because they are blocked creatives themselves most of the time. In my case, that's definitely true with the crazy makers there's been in my life. Yeah, that they themselves are blocked creatives, and part of their antics is dragging you down with them because you are a creative person. And I think one of the things that she said is that you choose to be around these people because you want to remain a stuck creative. Yeah, because people choose to stay in abusive situations with abusive people because they're blocked creatives. Like, there's more examples like that. I don't know if she exactly meant it like that, but it came across as that way. Yeah, and like the being creatively blocked in general, that happens because you're comfortable being that way. And I'm like, no, honey. This in no way is a replacement for therapy. I'm going to make that clear. It's in no way a replacement for that. So if you have gone through some trauma, if you've gone through some really, really tough, heavy shit, a really bad childhood, or anything like that, that does affect your creativity. And she does talk about that. It really, really does, because those voices come in your head to tell you that you're worthless and that you can't do it and whatever. And those voices come from somewhere, right? So it usually is a bad childhood. So what you need to do is you need to go to therapy, and you need to get that taken care of, and you need to go on a path of healing. And being creatively blocked is not the root of the problem. The root of the problem is you've been through something very traumatic, or maybe you have a family history of mental illnesses, or both. Or it could be a wide variety of things. If you are struggling with any of these kind of things, you need to go to therapy. You need to get to the root of the problem. And then as you keep working on it, and you keep working on yourself and working through it, then that will help with your creativity. So I'm always going to be a firm advocate and believer in therapy. And no amount of religious whatever, or doing this, or writing in the pages is going to help you significantly if you are not doing the work to get yourself taken care of. Being creatively blocked is not the root of the problem, it's a symptom. You got to treat the disease, not just the symptom. So, that's what I have to say about that. So, take some of the things that she says with a grain of salt. Plus, she swears by the pages a lot. Take that also with a grain of salt, and just take what good you want out of the book, whatever's going to be helpful to you. So with that being said, I'll share some of the things that were really helpful to me. She talks a lot in this book about allowing your artist to play. She talks about like your inner artist is like an inner child type of thing, but she really, really encourages play. So whenever you complete a reading, there will be tasks at the end. You can do them, or if it just doesn't apply to you, then you can skip them. I did skip a lot of them. But she does really advocate for trying new things. So, for example, with me, I really want to get back into painting. That was something me and my grandpa shared, the one that passed away last year. I've been wanting to paint again, in part for myself and in part to honor him. So I still haven't gotten around to it yet because I just got a job. So like income is a huge part of it. So yeah, but I do intend on going back into painting. So like that's one of the things. So she does heavily encourage that, to take some time to just allow yourself to do something creative. It's like if you like, I don't know, if you like stained glass, like do that. If you like to knit, do that. If you like to go outside and find some cool rocks, do that. Allow yourself to play, allow yourself to do something creative. If you have like the urge or the impulse, do it. Yeah, so she does heavily encourage that. Okay, so one of them that came to mind was actually from the last week 12, about not pushing your ideas out before they're ready. Like you need to allow them a period of time to incubate, and when it's ready, it will come out on its own. So she said the creative process is a process of surrender, not control. All too often when we say we want to be creative, we mean that we want to be able to be productive. Not to be creative is to be productive, but by cooperating with the creative process, not forcing it. So I have experienced this phenomenon many times in my songwriting. So usually the lyrics come to me first before everything else. And sometimes the lyrics don't come all at once. Sometimes it's like I'm stuck at the bridge or something. It's usually the bridge or the second verse chorus is what I call it. It just won't come to me, so I leave it on my phone in my notes app. And then it will just come to me someday, and then I write it down. And then when I go into, I use Logic Pro X, and I just do all that work on there. Sometimes it takes like years for it to come out on its own. So I just allow it to happen on its own time. I always say rushed art isn't good art. So like that was like one of the things that really spoke to me. Oh yeah, here's another good one. So she talks about like we think about all the things that we want to do, but we can't do them. We're stuck in our own heads. So she said like a really good thing to do is to pick a physical activity. And walking being a very good one because you can take in the scenery around you and it can help jumpstart your creativity. Yeah, that is when you walk, it's like a walking meditation is what she calls it. Ideas will come to you as you do that. So like that's another one. So there are gems like that in here. There's just like a lot of them that you're just like, okay, this is a stretch, or yeah. I don't know, like she acts like a lot of it is a one size fits all when it's not. People are different. Everybody is different. Here's where I'm going to get into the pages, actually. So her rule with the pages, which I think is dumb to have rules this strict when it's supposed to be an individual experience, is she wants you first thing in the morning before you do anything to write these pages. That they're supposed to be 3 pages, handwritten, long form, whatever pops into your head. It's just meant to get out all the negativity and all the shit that's in your head out on the paper. And like a lot of people do recommend journaling, and a lot of therapists recommend journaling too. Journaling is a very good, very powerful thing. But I don't agree with how this is done. So, I'm not diagnosed. I suspect that I have ADHD. I do plan on getting tested and getting diagnosed if I have it and getting help for it. But it is something I've always suspected that I have. And to be honest, like, this is huge. This is really huge. That's why I said I recommend you get a normal size journal. I tried to do the 3 pages, and usually what ended up happening was I was like, I don't want to write anymore. I don't want to talk anymore. I don't have anything else to say. I just end up griping and moaning about the same shit every day, and nothing changes. Nothing happens. This isn't working for me. And then I'd end up writing bye in big letters when I was done, just so it filled the page, or doing a drawing, which is good. Yeah, it is good too. Like, you know, at least I was drawing. Like, that's good. I haven't drawn much in a while. But I was going crazy. I was going insane. I could not focus. I could not do it. It was too much. And so this is where I looked on Reddit some more and on blog posts, because there were a lot of people with ADHD that said the pages were not doing it for them. And so, like, some of them, like they said, like, instead of 3 pages, write a page or a page and a half, or do it every other day. And that's also what I recommend. I mainly recommend just write as much as you need to. If that is 3 pages, great. If that's 5, I don't know how you do it, but great. If it's 1.5, great. If it's a half a page, great. As little or as much as you need. Because at the end of the day, it needs to be helpful to you. And if writing 3 pages is hurting you more than it's helping you, then don't. Don't do that. If it's not working for you, don't do it. That being said, there are other things to do. You can meditate. There are a lot of people who recommended meditation instead. Julia Cameron, like, disagrees, but progress is something that's individual. She cannot, like, hold her hand and, like, force us to do things her way. That's her way. That's what works for her. That's not what works for everyone. So for some people, like, meditation is a good thing. Putting on calming music, focusing on your breath, and, you know, like, there have been plenty of creative ideas that I have gotten from meditation, from yoga. You know, yoga is also a very good thing for that. Also, another thing that I do is I sometimes record voice notes, because sometimes it's more helpful for me to talk it out. Get it all out, express myself. It's easier than writing. It's more unfiltered. That's helpful too. Like, you can do that as well. You can type it if you want. So it's just, you know, some sort of dumping ground. But, like, it's also, like, I read blog posts too where there was a story that I found where someone whose mom did it for years. She'd passed away, and, like, this child, like, was doing it too. And I think it was a girl. She and her brother actually looked at their mother's mourning pages when they were mourning her, and found that the pages were so negative all the time. And it broke their heart that their mom felt that way and left that after she was gone. But yeah, there comes a point where if you're talking about it enough and you're writing about it enough and not doing something about it, it's not useful. It's just ruminating. It's just like if you have a friend who always goes to you and rants about things, and then it starts turning into the same shit over and over and over and over again, and you give them advice, and then they never follow it and come back to you to rant about it again. That gets old, right? Nothing changes, nothing happens. The friend is still going to be upset, is still going to have that problem, and you're going to continue to be annoyed being the one that they're ranting to. I felt that way with these pages. That is like, I was going to the friend ranting about the same shit and nothing was getting done about it, and it was frustrating me. So yeah, that was when I was just like, okay, like I gotta like back away from the pages in a way. So that's what I have to say about the pages. So if you're going to do them, write as little or as much as you need. Like I said, some days it's going to be longer. You're going to need it more some days. Other days you don't need it as much. Don't sweat it. Julia Cameron's not going to come to your house with a gun to your head. I promise she's not going to be. And if she thinks that would make it less useful to you because you're not doing it her way, then like that's not her problem. So yeah. But anyway, so the artist dates. I find those to be the most useful thing for her out of anything she's taught in the book and anything she wants you to do. Because if you're just sitting at home all day, every day, and then like go to work, eat, sleep, watch TV, you are stuck in the same mindset, the same environment. It's easy to get blocked. But if you're going out every week, trying something new, doing something different, doing something that stimulates your creativity, then that is huge. Creative people are inspired by whatever they're around, right? Whatever speaks them, whatever they're drawn to. So if you are actively going out of your way to seek out new experiences and new things to help feed that, you're going to be so much more inspired and have much more things to write about, to sing about, to paint about, dance about, whatever. These experiences are essential. So I'll tell you what I did this week. I live close to the Museum of Art. I'm not going to say where because I'm not going to reveal where I live. I'm not going to dox myself. But I live near an art museum. I went this week and it was an exhibit on the history of animation. And I have been interested in animation since college, my freshman year, first semester, when I was in my Art 101 class. And I learned about the basics of the history of animation. So it was a really cool experience to go in there and see all these cartoons that I grew up with, that I grew up watching, and like all like the old ones too. And it was like talking about claymation, it was talking about using like the hand painted cells, and I was able to take pictures of what they had like framed. Like there was like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, there was SpongeBob SquarePants, there was Bart Simpson, there was like All American Tail, there was Corpse Bride, there were a lot. And like I got to see the watercolor painted backgrounds with the painted cells of the characters. I got to see character sketches, I got to see references of like different expressions and poses and emotions. It was very cool. So that really like stimulated that. It can be very, very difficult to go on artist dates because of time and money, and maybe you're limited to your location. If you have a car, it's a little bit easier. Or if you live in Korea, like I wish I lived in Korea when I was doing this program. In Seoul, like I could go anywhere, take a subway, go anywhere. Hell, I could go to Gyeonggi-do and take a day trip. It was a lot easier in Korea, but you may not have like access to good public transportation, or there might be some limitations. So I'm gonna just think of some suggestions of what you can do for some artist dates to help get you started. Okay. So yeah, there are the more obvious ones. Like you can go to museums, you can go take a class, take a sculpture class, take take a hip-hop dancing class or kickboxing. Like, there are the obvious, that you can take a class and you can go to a museum. Like, those are the more obvious ones. Require money. Also, like, take yourself to a new restaurant that you've never been to, or a coffee shop. You can take your laptop to a coffee shop and start writing. You can go to the movies, especially if they're showing like old films. Like, that can be fun. So like, there are the obvious ones, but also you can take a long walk and explore where you live, explore the city, go a direction that you've never taken before. That also counts. Having a picnic in the park by yourself, I think that also counts. Finding cool rocks, picking up seashells, that kind of thing. I did find a good list once when I was looking for ideas that I will share, and I will also put it in the description. Okay, yeah. So I found like a WordPress. There's like 101 artist date ideas. Obviously, I'm not going to say all of them. So visit an artist supply shop. I actually did that for one of mine. Spend some time outdoors with your journal, sketchbook, craft supplies, etc. I actually did that once in Korea. I went to Seoul Forest, Seoul Soup, and I went there with my dream diary. And I turned off my phone. I just walked around, saw the animals, saw the nature and the scenery, and then I found a park bench, which happened to be, it was cool. There happened to be benches with BTS lyrics, of like the solo lyrics, and then they were like had like Jin, V, Jungkook, So yeah, I was very happy. I like sat on one of the benches, and then like I wrote in my dream diary. That's a good one. Yeah. Oh yeah, go on hikes. Hiking is a good one. Also in Korea, I was going through a really shitty week one time. It was very bad. And I decided to go on a hike. And when I got to the top and saw the view of the city, it was incredibly healing. It put things into perspective, and it did help with my creativity. So that's another good one. Go for a walk, take your camera with you to document the experience. You don't even need the camera. Just go on a walk. Go to the library. Oh yeah, see an Oscar-nominated movie or a foreign film. Yeah, foreign films are fun. I recommend those. Support the local art scene. Go to a local festival, music event, art show, play, museum exhibit, etc. Yeah, you can go to like any like bar or cafe that has live performances. There are plenty. Yeah, plant a garden. Go to a thrift store, give yourself $5 to spend, and find something really great that you can do something creative with. I actually met someone yesterday because I'm gonna go watch her cat, and I saw these like old classic pictures of like old classic movies that she had in gold frames, and I was like, that is really cute. And she was like, oh yeah, thank you. She's like, I actually got these in a thrift store, and they're actually sheet music. So she found these the old sheet music of these old movies, and she put them in gold frames and put them on her wall. And I thought that was so cute. So you can do something like that. Oh yeah, like treat yourself to a spa day. This list like could be like outdated. Yeah, I was like talking about like iPods. So just like adapt it. Oh, go to a local market. That's a good one. I love going to like markets and like seeing like the local artists. So I actually have a collection on my wall. You can take this idea too. If I like find any like prints or cute postcards or something, then I will buy the little artist prints and I put them on my wall as artwork. It's like they're usually like $1 each. Actually, yeah, I'll put up a picture when I edit the video and you will see. So you can do something like that too. Create a vision board, go for a bike ride, drive aimlessly. I miss doing that. I used to do that. Collect fall leaves and then take photos of them in whatever neat compositions you can. Finger paint. Take a walk around your town looking for objects of any shape. Take pictures. Yeah, there's like a lot of things you can do. Get creative with it, and that will help you. I guess to close this unscripted rant about this book and discussion, I do recommend it because it does help. It does help. It does help give you perspective and give you ideas. Yeah, I do have my criticisms of it, but nothing's perfect. So, you know, if you are anything like me and you have some of like my traits, like you don't believe in God, then, you know, scribble it out, put it in a word that's helpful instead of God or whatever. Make it your own. If there's something that you disagree with, like take it with a grain of salt. I think like everything should be criticized. Everything should be questioned because nothing is perfect. Don't discount it over things like that because there are a lot of good things in there. But the pages, write as little as much as you need. If those don't help, record voice notes, type, meditate, do something that can get what's in here out. Then that's my recommendation. And then try these artist dates. And like if you're not interested in the program, then there's a lot of websites online and there's a lot of Reddit posts that talk about it, so you can get information from that. If you're not even able to get through the whole program, that's okay. You can always try again. So, yeah, I hope that anything that I said is useful and not just me rambling on about this book. I hope that there's some information you got out of it that's helpful and it's good. And I encourage you to try because I believe everyone's a creative person. And everyone has a lot of creative potential, whether it be tapped into or untapped. And you just need to, you need to do a lot of things, but most importantly is you need to believe in yourself and you need to try. It's absolutely 100% worth it. And it's never too late. It's never too late to do what you really want to do and to create what you want to create. And if this book helps you be able to do that better, then that's a success, right? So yeah, I hope that this was useful. Please like and comment and subscribe if you did, and I will be back with a new video soon. Bye.